Okay, so I've got my line work drawn for the most part in this drawing, and now I basically want to start looking at annotation. So I'm just switching over so you can see the drawing. And so most of the annotation in this example is actually dimensions. And so that's probably not the best example to show you some text. But I do just want to show you one thing in this file, and that is the line types. I know most of you have gotten this working, but just in case, I'm going to switch to a layer there that is set to a different line type. In other words, in layer properties, you'll see it's the only one that's not continuous. It's hidden 2, which I'm sure you'll realise is just a type of dashed line. Hidden is the original small dash line, and then hidden 2 is smaller again. It's half that size. The one that's called hidden times 2, or hidden, x2, down here. Right, so that's double the size. And actually, it's the same size as dashed. So I don't know why they bother with that one. It's dashed. Because hidden is half dashed. So, don't forget, but that's why they have these others. So hidden 2, of course, that makes sense, and then dashed is the same. So dashed 2 is just like hidden. Again, don't know why they've got that, but dashed times 2 is double the size of dashed. So those all will definitely work. The others at the top, the AutoCAD ISO, I've been telling you that ISO normally is good because it means international standards, and normally that's a great thing. It means it's metric, in theory, but they've never gotten it to work very well. Again, they're people in America programming it, and they're used to working with inches, and then they've got to get the metric to work afterwards, and I just don't think they check this properly. So avoid the ISO line types. The rest are good though. So from batting down, all of those will work. So if you've chosen one of those, like we have, hidden 2, and then you don't see, let's just draw a rectangle so we can see something that's on that layer, and I'll put it back here first. So I'll draw a rectangle. Okay, and it's on the join above layer. So it should be dashed or hidden. And you can sort of tell when you zoom right in that it is. But the reason we can't see those dashes is because of the scale. They're obviously very small. So the best way of changing the scale of your line types, and I know this is a bit different to what's written in the notes, I think the best way, well I know the best way is to change the scale down here. So I'll change it to 1 to 50. And then if you don't see the change straight away, type RE, enter to do a regen. That regenerates the whole drawing, and then you will see the effect of that change. Yeah. So from now on, if I draw things on that layer, they'll be dashed or hidden at a size that I can see it. The way that it says to in the exercise, or in some of the instructions, is to go to here. This is where you get your line type settings, and when you go to other, and then you have to click show details sometimes to see the settings, you can change the global scale factor there. And again, that's why I keep talking about these old guys doing it. There are plenty of old CAD managers who would still set it in here. Exactly, easier the other way. And this only works once. That's a global scale factor, so it works for one scale. But what if you need 3 different scales? This doesn't work. So I don't recommend using the old method, use the new way, which is easier as well. Yep. So that's scale, and it obviously relates to line types. But now I'm going to go back to one of the earlier exercises where you'll need to put some text in. And of course I've been really slack saving these because I don't need to, but let's see, have I saved exercise 1? No. 2? No. What have I got? I do have exercise 1 somewhere, I think. I don't want to make you watch me drawing it again, so let's just see if I can find it. Here we are. Oh, that's exercise 1. Well, I didn't really want, I actually want exercise 2. I'm going to open one of yours. You'll all have them. So, and in fact, I think I did save it in here as well. Yeah, there's exercise 2. Alright, so I'll open that. But I'm sure all of yours would have been just as good. So, you can see there the dashed line's working because the scale is already set to 1 to 50. So now I want to add some text. And looking at the drawings, you can see you need to add some notes. So let's do a couple down here. Fridge, tea facilities, float cupboard. And the first thing, and this is really the most important thing with text, make a text style first, and it makes everything work better. There are some text options when you've got to draw multi-line text. If you haven't set a text style first, you think it's not working because the size is out of control. So making a text style sets the height, or lets you set the height, and just makes everything easier. And because I think you probably all understand that pretty well, I'm just going to give you another good tip that might help you a lot. If you use Word, and I'm sure you all have to with your assignments and other work you've got to do, you've got the same basic idea, but a lot of people don't realise for some reason in Word, you've got styles. Do you all use those in Word? Or no one? Yeah? Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. And then they change the font and the size as they go, which is really tedious. When you've got to write a long document, I just had to write a 100-page essay, and going and changing, 500 headers, or not 500, but at least 80 headers manually is pretty tedious when you've had a long night of just churning out, writing, and then having to do that. It'd kill me having to do that. So if you work with styles, right, and you've got heading 1 for all those headers, or heading 2, whatever, you want to change it, right-click, modify, and then you change the settings here, and it will change all of your headers, all your headings and your bodies. Yeah, it's a brilliant thing. And if you've ever wondered why they have these options for making tables of contents and indexes, that all works perfectly if you use styles. It's brilliant. You get a table of contents that gives you all the page numbers, linked to where you've got your different sections. You don't have to go and type that manually. It's brilliant, yeah. So, yes, yep. The dot file, yeah. So in Word, you know how we're making templates in AutoCAD that are DWT? In Word, they're .dot. So you make a dot file, and that can store all your starting settings. If you change things though in any Word file, it should ask you if you want to update that dot file automatically. Yeah, you might see that message come up, asking it'll say you've changed some defaults. Do you want to update the dot or normal dot? And that's what it's asking. Do you want to change the template in Word? So yeah, that's a good thing. And this is why I still prefer Word hugely over Google Docs. Google Docs is a pain for formatting if you're doing long documents. Otherwise, Google Docs is amazing for certain things, but not for that. So, yeah. Okay, so I've got my layers there, but I don't have any layers for text. So I'm going to add some layers for annotation, and the basic one should be Anno. I'll leave it white, and I'll leave the line weight default as well. So that's it for my text layer. I'll make it current, and then I'll go back to the style. And that's the thing I really want to emphasise. The number one tip for doing anything to do with annotation, especially text, and to find it, the thing that's a bit confusing, it's quite hard to do it on the Annotate tab. You can get to it there, but I'm not going to show you how because you shouldn't have to. It's easy on the Home tab if you go to the Annotation little drop-down panel there. And you've got all these buttons for your styles. The first one, of course, is your text style, not text style. And so click on text style, and then it doesn't matter which one you start with, you can just click new. And I'll call it, notes will do. Oops. And then again, my second tip is use annotative from the get-go. Don't worry about the old way, as long as you understand a little bit that there's another way of manually working out your text types, but annotative does the multiplication for you. So tick annotative, then you'll see over here, instead of just saying height, once you've ticked it, it says paper text height. So whenever you see that term paper, it's to do with printing. So this is the size it will print when it says paper text height. And so if you do know some standard text heights that you should use on your drawings, no? You don't have to use the old Rotring and the stencils anymore. No one uses stencils. Oh God, your writing's probably neater than mine, but we used to use stencils, the plastic stencils to do neat text that you have. And they have the sizes on them, so when you use those, you'll see the standard sizes, which should go down to about 2.5 mil, and then 3.5 and 5. You haven't seen those? No? Okay. So anyhow, 2.5. I'll do that. You're lucky you don't have to use those things. So it's good for people if you've got messy writing though. Those plastic stencils are great. So 2.5 is my paper text height, in other words, the size it will print. I think it's easier than when you're working in Word, because who knows what a point is? I've been working with them for 30 years and I still have to look it up. It's an imperial thing, it's to do with inches, so it's hard to remember. But in AutoCAD, it's millimetres. So that's 2.5 millimetres. Easy. So that's done. I'll make sure I've clicked Set Current, and you can see that's up here, made the current style notes. Close. I didn't even check the font, but I'll quickly look at that since you're probably all comfortable with those steps. Arial, do you know much about fonts? So Arial, yeah, it is ugly. It's called Poor Man's Helvetica. That's what it is. So if you know about fonts, Helvetica is a beautiful font. It's what a lot of graphics people use. Unfortunately, Windows or Microsoft didn't do the deal with the font makers that Apple did, so they don't have Helvetica built in. It's a shame. You can get Helvetica for Windows easily, but we can't add it easily to these computers. Yeah, there are. So Arial, it is a poor man's Helvetica. It's based on Helvetica. But then, do you know what Helvetica means? Swiss. It means it's from Switzerland. Yeah, Helvetii were the Swiss, one of the Swiss tribes, the German guys who conquered the Romans and all that. So, so anything that says Helvetii or something at the beginning, it's Swiss, and Switzerland condensed down here. Sorry?
There's one called Paul Richard.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, most of them are just made by graphic designers. Yeah. So Switzerland condensed. All these Swiss fonts, they're very similar to Helvetica.
Yeah.
They are actually a type of Helvetica, technically. So, so those are okay. But really, any fonts are good, except for notes and especially dimensions. You want to avoid serif fonts. You know what serifs are? Yeah, not for for some things they're great, but then for this, that's a serif font, right, with the tails sticking out. So the sans serif is what you want. Sans means without, and so again, the Swiss are all sans fonts, and they're okay. I'll just get one of them. So I just want the normal black. Oh no, not that. Not the. Sorry, the normal BT. Where's BT? Yeah, that's it. Okay, so again, I'll apply and close. So it's probably a lot easier than I've made it look. You just go in, do your text style, make sure you've got annotative, make sure you've got a height and it's current. The font's up to you. So then I'm on my text layer. So drawing text, you've got two options. There's multi-line and single line. I'd recommend at first you just use multi-line. So I'll click there, multi-line, and then I'm going to click a point for corner of my text box, bring it down, and do the other corner of the text box. Easy. And then you get a ribbon. So that's why I say use multi-line text, because it gives you this. And it's just like Word. You can change the options as you draw. You can even change the height. While you're typing, you can change all the other formatting. But I will just put what we need, which was T area or something. I've totally forgotten. Was it T facilities, fridge? Oops. Okay, T facilities. And then you can either just click to the side or tick to finish to make text. Easy. But it's surprising how much people struggle with that if they don't set the text style first. And I'll just even show you. So here we've got one where the text style hasn't been done. Yeah, so I'll show you what can happen. If I go and make some multi-line text. Well, it's actually remembered, see, it's picked up the 2.5. But that's where you can have issues because it might be this. Let's just do that again. Where's it gone? there. Oh no, so I didn't. So it is there. I thought it was going to be huge, but it's gone the other way.
Oh,
There it is. And that can happen. It's all to do with that idea of scale. And it can vary hugely, the size. Yep. But if you set the style first, you don't have to worry about that. Now, the other thing, though, that I want to emphasise is that the scale here needs to be set before you do your text.
it's simply.
Yeah, no, but that's the right size for 1 to 50. That is right. Yeah, I think in the examples it might be 2 mil instead of 2.5, but 2.5 is fine. So, yeah, so make sure it's 1 to 50. I'll just show what happens if you've left it on 1 to 1. Again, if I do multi-line, it's going to warn you that that's the wrong size. So if you forget, that should come up, and then you can always change it to 1 to 50. And for all these exercises, you can start on 1 to 50. And then you shouldn't have any problem putting those notes in. Notice it's going a bit small because, again, it got confused by me starting with the wrong scale. But don't worry, as long as you type in what you like or what you need and then tick. Ah, well, okay. See, it's gotten confused. I'll watch what happens. If I go and do it again now, have I got notes? Yeah, if I do it again now, it's just one of these little bugs in the program. It gets confused. It's going to be right. Oops. Okay, I didn't change anything, but second go it worked. So watch out for that with text. If you see it goes in a really big or really small size, like this, again, it's not picking up the scale properly, but if you just try again, make sure you've got this option down here, it should be right. So that's it. So just, if you, looking for something to do, go back over your old drawings and add in all of the text notes. And then I'll do another demo in a little while on dimensions. And yeah, that should do it.